Hello guys, how you doing? The Dead Space Remake was announced a few days ago now. Yesterday I tried filming this and I couldn't get my words out because I'm still thinking about it. I'm really not over-exaggerating here. But I want to talk about some things that I thought of that maybe I'd like to see in this game. Likely scenarios that we're probably going to get in the game. And also, you know, just talk a little bit about the announcement trailer. I only say a little bit because, well... it didn't really show us too much. It just showed us the core fundamentals, which was Isaac's back, a dark and moody atmosphere, and we got the damn necromorphs back. As I said in my reaction video, it looks like we're on the right path at the moment, but we could be a good 2 or 3 years before this game comes out. Someone on Reddit said, yeah, just hopefully they'll release the remake around summer so it takes longer for it to get dark outside. You know, I thought that was pretty funny. But I think realistically we'll be seeing it released around 2023, somewhere around there. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we see it sooner. But the main point is we don't want this to be rushed, do we? We don't want this to be rushed. And on that subject, before we get stuck in, don't pre-order this, guys. Alright? Please. Don't pre-order this, especially when it's EA. We all know the history of EA. If they release some kind of, and now you can get this on a pre-order, you know, get Isaac's cool worker skin or whatever, you know, just don't do it, please. Don't do it. What I liked about that initial announcement trailer, after watching it again and again, apart from that first time, which was just, you know, shock central, you know, I'm sure a lot of you can attest to that as well in your own perspectives. Well, someone brought this to my attention actually. The way Isaac is introduced, you know, he kind of, you know, he's got no health and he is brought back to life. Whoever made this trailer, I thought that was pretty smart. I completely missed that, to be fair, and someone pointed out, well, that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool. Isaac has been brought back to life. Dead Space itself has been brought back to life. Now, I love the whole, you know, it's still there, cut off their limbs, you know, even with the handprints, you know, it's pretty much spot on. You've got the body there next to Isaac as well. That's really cool to see. But one thing I did notice, and tell me if you noticed this as well, Isaac's got 5 health bars, I believe, if memory serves. Whereas when you start the game in the original, he's got 4. It's just a little thing I noticed, you know. I'm not saying, you know, oh, maybe we could be seeing this. I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm just saying, oh, that's interesting. He's got 5 health bars there, you know. It's just something I picked up on. But aside from that, just hearing Isaac's breathing again was just great. It's so iconic. So now we got the announcement trailer side of things out of the way. Now we can talk about what came after that. And there's been a few bits of information. Again, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this already, but I just want to cover it from my perspective. I gotta say something, alright, before I get into what was covered after the initial announcement trailer. I think something a little bit bad is going to come of this, because I've seen it in other games, you know, especially the Resident Evil series. What's already happening is this. The Dead Space community is one of the best gaming communities I've ever personally seen. After talking with the community, as I say, on Facebook and Reddit for quite a long time now, you know, I've mentioned this before, you get a couple of bad eggs here and there, but not on the scale of other fan bases, you know, which I won't go into. But for Dead Space community, you know, it's really nice. The people there are really, really good. But I think that's going to end soon. And I hate saying that. I don't want to dwell on any negatives, okay? Because I do try to be as positive as I can. But that's going to end a little bit, at least a little bit. Because what we're going to get is we're going to get people who prefer the remake, and we're going to get people who prefer the older games. We're going to get people who prefer both. So a part of me is a little bit gutted about that. You know, you can't help that, you know. This is just, you know, human conflict. You know, this is all natural at the end of the day. No, this one's better. No, that one's better. I still don't get why people prefer 3, Dead Space 3. Shouts to you, Lee. May it serve you well, son. But, you know, that's people's opinions at the end of the day. And, you know, they're right to think like that. That's their experience, you know. What's definitely going to happen, no matter what side of the fence you are, is that the Dead Space community is about to be severed. See what I did there? That's that, basically. But, you know, hopefully for the majority of us, we can all still cohabit and express our happiness about each of the games that have come out. But back to that IGN video. Now, for the rest of this video, pretty much anyway, I'm going to be holding up my phone because it's got a load of notes here. I'm not joking, guys, you know. I've got such a scatterbrain at the moment with all these thoughts, what I'd like to see in the game, that kind of thing. Interactions with the community, everything, guys, that I just have to read off my phone, alright? So, it is what it is. So, with that, They said no microtransactions. I'll believe that when I see it, okay? It's EA. I'm not going to say, well, that's great, isn't it? They're not going to put any microtransactions in. Look, things change. This has been proven before. I'm just going to say, we'll see what happens. Motive Studio hired fans to help make the game in terms of playtesting, what to keep, what to change, etc. I hope there was a screening process for this, because I would have been great for that. Where was my email? Where was my phone call? Where was my invitation, EA? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Hopefully, is what I'm saying, they've got some actual cool, fans who are in the know, who absolutely love, breathe, and shit Dead Space, so that's all I'm going to say about that. Hopefully they've done us proud on this. Some people online are speculating that this might be first person rather than third person, or they're just confused, they don't know what to expect. Let me lay it on the line for you. This will be third person, 100%. And here's the reason for that. What's the point of showing Isaac Clarke's health on his back if it's first person? What's the point in first person when you're stomping on enemies on the floor, that kind of thing? It's going to be third person. This is one of the big ones as well. A lot of people online are saying, oh my god, did you hear what they said in that video? They said there's going to be improved gameplay, story and characters, and everyone's going like, oh, what do you mean improved? What are you doing? Now the guy said, look, we're not looking to improve them just because they were shit to begin with. That's not the case at all. They're just saying they're going to make it more fleshed out for today's standards, because with technology comes more ways to do stuff, and you've got to give them the freedom to express their creativity and get more information across to the player, so yeah, with that there's definitely going to be some changes, of course there is, but I don't think there's going to be too much for concern here. Hopefully, anyway. It's best to look at the positives for now, because if you just dwell on the negative, who knows when you might get some more information. I've said this before, but who knows when you might get some more Dead Space Remake information. Don't dwell on the negative so much as the positives, alright? It's just going to be healthier all round, alright? So, with that, let's talk about this. Let's just talk about the graphics for a second, what we can expect from this remake. Imagine that. Imagine the intricacies that we're going to see in this game. The necromorphs are going to look far more disgusting. I bet you any money there's going to be more versions of them as well. I mean, in the original Dead Space game, let's take your typical necromorph. There's like a few versions of them, right? And that's great as it is, kind of thing. But imagine, the differences. Some of these are going to be naked, some of them are going to have bits of clothing on them still, some of them are going to look a bit different than others, anything that you can think of. We've got better technology to work with now, and this, I don't think this should be of any concern for anyone. I don't think it is anyway, but just imagine how great and scary this is going to be for today's graphical standards. It's going to be delicious. But in terms of the story and characters, if you were approached by EA Studios, and this isn't the end of the video, this is me genuinely asking you a question now. If EA Studios approached you and said, what can we improve? Because we're going to do it anyway, but you tell us, what can we improve? Let's start with the characters. What can we improve about the characters in Dead Space 1? There can be some improvements. Let's take the two red shirts at the beginning of the game. Maybe in the Dead Space remake, they'll have a bit more of a bigger role instead of just getting slaughtered by that first necromorph. I don't think that's going to happen. I think at least one of them, if they choose to introduce necromorphs around about the same way as they did in the first game, I think they're going to have one of the red shirts get eaten or killed or slashed, whatever, by one of these necromorphs, just to kind of show how threatening they are. I think that makes sense, just to kind of showcase, oh shit, here they are. So they could improve the minor roles in the game in that sense, but when it comes to the main characters, your Isaac Clarkes, your Kendras, your Hammonds, I'd like, I think this is the same for everyone. I'd like the same voice actors back. Everyone, come back, please. Please come back. And if you do change some of the cast, just make sure you keep Isaac Clarke. What I love about Isaac Clarke is that he doesn't talk, and that was a conscious decision to make. That wasn't, graphical or rather technical restraints, anything like that. Schofield actually said himself, we wanted him not to talk, but we also didn't want it to seem like he was just taking orders from, Kendra or Hammond, that kind of thing. We wanted him to be his own man, kind of thing. But a lot of people on Reddit and Facebook, they do want to have Isaac Clarke talk in this one, but some of them don't, and some of them are not sure. Here's my take on it. I'm happy for him to stay silent, because it just further accentuates the fact that you are alone. You know, you've just got Isaac's breathing to go by, and of course his feet clanking on the metallic surfaces, or the squelchiness of the organic mass, you know, whatever the fuck the surface is. That's one of the things I love about the first Dead Space, you know. You're just on your own. That's it, boy. You've got this ship you know nothing about. I assume, you know, Isaac, he might have known the layout beforehand, you know. This is what you might want to know, Isaac Clarke, you know, if you're going to repair anything, this is where they are located, that kind of thing. It might make, you know, if you're going into this, you might need the schematics, you know, to do that if you're an engineer. But you've never physically actually been there, you know. That's a big reason why I would like to have Isaac Clarke not talk in this remake. However, if they decide to go with him talking like in Dead Space 2, you know what I would love as an improvement? Because you're just out of your element, like Leon was or Claire was. Let's use Leon as an example in this one. One of the things I love so much about Resident Evil 2 Remake was when you're fighting zombies or whatever, you hear your character go like, "Bastard!" or "Stand back!" or "Fuck!" or "Shit!"
Shit! Ah, shit! Jesus! Ah, Jesus!
I love that. If they make Isaac Clarke, I would love that. Fuck! Shit! Fuck up, motherfucker! Imagine how much more intense, and atmospheric, and just, oh my god. I would want that. Now, coming off from the improved characters into the improved storyline aspects, you know, to kind of make a bridge in between here, let's talk about Nicole. In Dead Space 2, Nicole has a far bigger role than she did in Dead Space 1. Although in Dead Space 1, you know, she was present enough to be, you know, remembered, that kind of thing. You wouldn't be like playing Dead Space and thinking, oh yeah, what am I doing with Nicole again? You knew what you were doing. It was absolutely fine. But since they're looking at improving the story as well as the gameplay and the characters, Nicole, you think about this, what they could do with Nicole. You could get more jump scares with Nicole. Just popping up and going, you know, "Help me, Isaac," you know. Although you don't really know that she's dead, or Isaac doesn't know that she's dead in Dead Space, you can have more, you know, more logs from Nicole. You know, video logs, text logs, and voice logs, that kind of thing, you know, to kind of bring her more to life. One of the things I am actually quite looking forward to, from what the developers were saying in that IGN video, was how they're going to improve the story in terms of, you know, referencing other things that happened in the Dead Space universe, you know, which I think is going to be great. Now that we know from the previous games what actually happened, they can actually reference more of the space station in number 2, characters from 2 as well, like Tideman, for example. Now then, when it comes to the improvements in gameplay, I mean, I think it goes without saying they're going to improve Isaac's movements, you know, for the next generation of consoles and to keep it up to date with today's current gaming climate. So that's absolutely a given. They're going to improve the stasis in some way. They're going to improve the telekinesis in some form. But let's talk more about the interesting things we've heard from this video, like the dismemberment. It's going to be a bit more intricate. And this is where I'm going to bring up my phone again, okay? So this is what I'd like to see, in line with what they've said already. More sophisticated dismemberment. That's what they're touting at the moment. But here's where I'm going to elaborate a little bit of what we could see and what I'd like to see personally. I think a lot of you can agree with what I'm about to say here. Enemy limbs will separate wherever you shoot them, rather than set pieces like in the original game. So, if you're looking to dismember one of these necromorphs in Dead Space 1 or 2, for example, you know, you want their leg to be cut in half. If you shoot around the knee area, that kind of thing, that's going to happen whether it's a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Imagine shooting a necromorph wherever, and that part of him, I mean, because of today's technology, I mean, look at Mortal Kombat, you know, they can slice and dice all kinds of areas, you know. But just imagine that, you know, when it comes to dismemberment, this is going to be far more intricate. I mean, you can slice off fingernails, you know, you can slice off individual fingers. There was an interview with Schofield, who was saying himself, you know, that he didn't want, you know, the player to shoot somewhere and, you know, the whole arm come off, for example, that kind of thing. So they actively, you know, designed every character with this dismemberment tech, you know. So again, think of what's going to come with this Dead Space remake, man. It's going to be phenomenal. One of the things that kills horror games for me is the fact that there's no randomization. I think being random in a horror game is absolutely 100% the way to go, at least in some capacity. Look at Alien Isolation. The fact that you've got randomization in a horror game just means that when you go through on that second playthrough, things are different. What I love about Dead Space is that they did some of that when it came to where you were positioned in conjunction to event, you know, that kind of thing. They kind of switched it around a little bit. And also, alongside of that, when it comes to picking up items as well, I love that. It just makes every single playthrough a joy to play, and you don't have the same experience. It's pretty much a must, 100%. They've got to have it in some capacity, you know, at least some capacity like the original game, but definitely have randomization. They also said that cut content from the original game will make it in, and that really intrigued me, to be fair. They were talking about that beginning segment when you're running away from all the necromorphs, you know, when shit hits the fan. They found lots of, you know, original concept designs within the game or something, you know, the source. You can see what they tried to do here, but they had to go this route instead because of the technical limitations, you know. There's this video that I saw again recently, it's really great, of the prototype of Dead Space showcased on the original Xbox console, and maybe they'll incorporate some of these things. I mean, Schofield said at one point in an interview, a really cool interview, that at one point Dead Space was going to have flying enemies in. Now I'm gonna say this, and I'm not alone in this. I'm sure I hate flying enemies in games. I just hate them. They're just bastards. They're annoying and they're not fun. So I'm glad there's no flying enemies as such in Dead Space. But to see an unused enemy or two, or an unused location, you know, and I hope there's like some explanation, like as a feature in Dead Space Remake, like this is what happened, like a documentary that you can unlock, or just as an extra in the menu system, you know. So I think, you know, that's concrete information enough to let us know that there's going to be some, you know, changes in the environment, you know. So yeah, add an extra deck or two in the Ishimura. Switch things up a bit, surprise us. You expect this to happen? No, that doesn't happen until chapter 3, chapter 4 or something like that now, you know. It's going to be great. I am getting pumped up for it, you know. It's going to be good times, I hope. So guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've made it all the way through, thank you very much, even more so. And I will see you all on the next video.